You know that heavy, sinking feeling you get on a Sunday night? Yeah, that one. You look ahead at the coming week and realize, with this kind of quiet dread, that tomorrow is going to be exactly like yesterday. The same job, the same routine, the exact same repeating problems. You sit there and think to yourself, man, how did I get here? Well, let's dive right into this, because today's explainer is breaking down a really fascinating source that offers a direct, structured escape route. We're looking at a comprehensive 7-day life restart blueprint. If you've ever looked around and asked yourself if this is the life you really wanted, you need to know a powerful truth that our source material makes crystal clear. You can restart right now. Literally, right now. Not when you miraculously have a bunch more money in the bank. Not when your living situation gets perfectly resolved. And definitely not when someone finally hands you permission. You can restart with exactly what you have in the exact situation you're in today. The source actually dismantles a massive misconception we all seem to have. When we feel stuck, our first instinct is to just blow everything up, right? We want to quit our jobs, move to a brand new city, basically change our entire identity overnight. The source calls that the panic. But a real restart is actually the complete opposite. A real restart is small, it's quiet, and it relies on these microscopic daily shifts rather than some dramatic explosion. Think of your life like a massive ocean liner. If you want to turn that ship, you don't just pick it up out of the water and drop it facing a new direction. There's no way. You turn the wheel 1 single degree. And if you change your direction just 1 degree every day for 7 days, you eventually find yourself sailing in a completely different trajectory. Direction is absolutely everything. So let's get into Phase 1, Assessment in Space, which covers days 1 and 2. Looking at our timeline for the week, we kick things off on day 1 with assessment. But as we walk through this chronology, I really want you to mentally highlight day 5. The source stresses that you absolutely need to stick around for day 5, because that is the crucial internal shift that actually makes all the external steps possible. We're going to get there, but let's begin with tonight. For day 1, grab a piece of paper tonight and write down 2 truths. First, write down exactly where you are today, honestly. Completely unfiltered, what feels wrong, what's broken, just write it down. Second, write down where you realistically want to be in exactly 1 year. Not some fantasy world, but a realistic, grounded target. And why do we do this? Well, right now, your problems live as this tangled mess inside your head, making them feel massive and totally impossible to fix. Putting them on paper shrinks them down into something human and manageable, and it gives your brain a highly specific target to aim for. Moving right along the timeline to day 2, our goal is to create space. You see, you can't just add a new life on top of an old life that's already overflowing with junk. But there is a very strict rule for this day. So the absolutely crucial point is this. You must remove only one thing that is wasting your time. Maybe it's that mindless hour of doom scrolling before bed. Maybe it's watching a show you don't even like anymore out of pure habit. Or, hey, maybe it's interacting with an energy-draining person. Just pick one. Do not try to remove 10 things, because if you do, the source warns you're going to get completely overwhelmed and give up by tomorrow, like all those grand New Year's resolutions that usually fall apart by Wednesday. Cutting just one single thing creates immediate free time and free energy to fuel the rest of your week. Okay, moving into Phase 2, Momentum and Foundation, for days 3 and 4. Now that we have a target and some newly cleared space, we shift out of that passive assessment phase and begin building active, forward-moving momentum. On day 3, your mission is to take one extremely small, entirely non-scary action toward that 1-year target you wrote down back on day 1. If your goal is to learn a language, learn just 5 words today. If you want to get healthier, walk for 15 minutes. Just one small step. The psychology behind keeping this small is actually really fascinating. Big actions feel terrifying, but small actions, those feel possible right now. And as the source notes, movement creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. And it's that newly minted confidence that allows you to take a slightly bigger action tomorrow. Great lives aren't built in those dramatic movie montage moments. They're built through thousands of tiny, almost invisible daily decisions. By the time you reach day 4, you've created space and movement. But you've got to protect that fragile new clarity. How? By locking down the very first hour of your day. How you start your day dictates how you live your day. The blueprint gives us a highly specific 4-step morning routine to protect your momentum. First, wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Second, drink a glass of water and absolutely under no circumstances touch your phone. Third, sit quietly and read that piece of paper from day one to remind your brain of your target. Finally, perform that one small action you started on day 3. This locks in a quiet start and a clear direction every single morning. Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You're saying, I am way too busy. I don't have 30 extra minutes in the morning. Well, the source material addresses this excuse with brutal honesty. If you literally cannot find 30 minutes for your own life, then your life belongs to everyone and everything except you. No restart is possible until you claim at least 30 minutes as your own property. Which brings us to phase 3, the internal reset, focusing on day 5. We're going to drop the energy just a bit here because day 5 is the emotional climax of the entire blueprint. This is the day that actually changes everything on the inside, because here is the raw truth. People who feel stuck are rarely stuck because of their physical situation. They're usually stuck because of the suffocating weight of their past regrets. They tell themselves, I wasted so many years, or I made the wrong choices, or it's just too late for me now. That internal voice is incredibly heavy. It's heavier than debt, and for sure, it's heavier than failure. So the crucial point is, you must disarm that voice. Every single person who has ever successfully rebuilt their life had a past they regretted, but they did one thing differently. They forgave themselves. Not because the past didn't matter, but because carrying it was draining the exact energy they needed for their restart. So on day 5, the source instructs you to write this exact quote on a new piece of paper and read it out loud. I forgive myself for the time I lost. I am starting today, and today is enough. Read it out loud even if it feels a little silly, because your brain listens to what you say, and when your brain starts believing that today is enough, you can finally move forward. All right, let's bring the energy back up for phase 4, accountability and continuation, covering days 6 and 7. Coming out of that profound internal reset, we need to assure this newly found momentum doesn't just quietly fade away into the background. So for day 6, your task is simple but incredibly effective. You must tell one person what you're doing. Find a trusted friend or family member and tell them you're working on changing your life. You don't need to show them your day 1 paper or explain the whole blueprint to them. Just tell them something is changing. Why? Because when a goal is just in your head, it's very easy to quietly give up when no one's watching. But human beings hate to fail in front of a witness. Telling just one person creates a vital layer of positive social pressure. And finally, we arrive at day 7. By today, you might not have a perfect life, but things will absolutely feel different. You'll feel slightly more in control, slightly more hopeful. Your job today is to validate that feeling, grab hold of it, and pivot immediately to planning the next 7 days. This is where the source reveals exactly how most people fail. They have one really good motivated week, they feel the change, and then they just stop. They think the restart is completely over, and within months, they slide right back into the same old routines. To sustain this, you pull out your day 1 paper, write down 7 new, small, doable actions for the upcoming week, and execute them, one day at a time. Do not let those old habits creep back into the space you've so carefully cleared out. Which brings us to the ultimate question. The source material emphasizes that a restart doesn't start next Monday or next month. The part of you that is craving this change is listening right now. Your 7 days start tonight. So I leave you with this. Grab a piece of paper tonight, look at yourself honestly, and tell me, what is your day 1 reality and which way will you turn the ship tomorrow?